Now, I think many people are worried about how we will be able to find food in the future, but not so much about how we grow the food.
Researchers from the program Agriculture and Food Security gathered in Gothenburg in June for a Writeshop. They are writing on a book with success stories. Each chapter is a good example of how to improve food production.
These chapters represent 4 different countries in Africa. So these are Ethiopia and Kenya and Burkina Faso and Nigeria. And together at this moment, these countries have about 370 million people. And in 10 years' time, that amount is going to be doubled. So we know that where we can put people, we can put them in higher buildings. But how can we grow for these people? Because land is definite, no? Or it's going to decrease, the agricultural land. So we need to follow the same pattern to grow also in different elevations or different heights, which is what we do in multifunctional landscapes. We have a tree, we have a crop under the tree perhaps, we have some animals grazing in that landscape, we add the fish pond, and then we have a little system, a closed system or an open system. But we need to be smarter the way we grow these trees or our future food.
One of the researchers is Geraldine Matolla, who do research in Kenya about aquaculture, fish farming. The farmers grow fish inland in ponds and use fish feces as crop fertilizers.
I hope that this research can lead to more people picking up fish farming, because we still have a very small proportion of people. Many people tend to think that it is not viable. And so through this success story, through this research, I expect that many people will realize that it is very viable. There are different levels that farmers can enter at high tech, low tech, high scale, low scale. So everybody has a place. And through that, more people will grow more fish and more food will be available and more people will have livelihoods from this fish farming business.
Julius Adewopo is doing research in Nigeria on maize-based systems, where farmers grow several different vegetables.
Maize currently constitutes about 1/4 of the food that is consumed at the household level in Nigeria. Now, the smallholder farmers are the champions of the maize-based system. This is because they're not just producing maize, they're also planting other crops with maize, such as legumes, cowpea, beans, and root and tuber crops and vegetables. And for them, it's not just about the yield of grain, it's about the fact that they derive multiple benefits from their farmland. One of those benefits would be access to better nutrition because they have access to vegetables, they have access to tuber crops, and of course, they also are able to reduce the risk of production because they get more income by deriving revenue from other crops that they're planting. And I think this is a very significant untold story. And the more we tell this story, which is my goal from this Writeshop, the more we tell this story, the better we can articulate opportunities and strategies to be able to improve farm level efficiency in this maize-based farmland and to support smallholder farmers and rural livelihood.
Farmers in Burkina Faso need special permits to manage their trees on their parkland, a common agriculture practice where trees exist in the fields. The trees are considered to be forest products, not crops.
So what we are recommending is that there should be a change in law to allow farmers to make management of tree on the parkland without any complication.
Trees should be considered a crop like anyone else.
Exactly.
All these examples could help the farmers survive and also increase food production.
We will see examples from the chapters of how it helps them to improve their incomes, their nutrition standards at the farm level, but also in some cases it contributes to the national food production. While doing that, we also know that we have impacts of climate change to deal with. And by growing this way, we can also have ecosystem services, which are, for example, you provide shade for some trees or for the animals that graze under the tree. We improve the soil health, and therefore we also need, we can improve incomes by reducing the amount of fertilizers that we put on the fields, for example. So there are so many systems, and you will find them in the book. that they will have benefits not only in one way, but many synergies between these different combinations of trees and crops and animals that are grown together. And that's why we call them multifunctional land uses.